All the truckers are shit scared there of parking there at night because every time a truck driver's parked his truck there, the creatures come down and done a lot of damage to the truck. I heard one in the US, poor American truck driver doing his thing, pulls a truck in after driving for so many hours, we're doing the delivery into a truck stop, pulls in, goes to sleep, and he gets woken up by something shaking the shit out of the truck. He's in the back cabin, wakes up, looks around, sees this big 12-foot hairy thing staring at him at the window. He had both the doors locked, and this thing then proceeded to start pounding the roof of his truck with its bare hands. It was a freaky story I could tell you. I don't know what year it happened. I think it was probably back in the 80s. In the US, they just finished building a Woolworths shopping center. They got them over there in the US, just like here. Yeah, as I was saying, they just finished building this Woolworths shopping center. There was two people that had saw this thing. They were working late night doing night fill, and this thing came in through the front door while the staff members were in there packing shelves. It was just her and the manager. This thing walked through the car park, walked right through the front door, and right through the middle of the building, right straight out the back door. The manager and the staff described smelling a terrible smell. They looked over and they see this unusual character, well over 6 foot. And what's getting them to scratch their heads is this thing's wearing a beekeeper suit while it's walking through the building. It's a true story. It was actually wearing a beekeeper suit. Turns out it was a juvenile Sasquatch that had put it on and just walked straight through the building, walked out the back, and just kept on walking. Yeah, they can walk through walls. They got no effort doing that. There was a guy I was talking to. He's been dealing. Yeah, it's a very interesting story. He's been dealing with these creatures for over 12 years. Physical interaction with them, but he's lucky. He's with a good family unit of these Sasquatch, a whole family, old ones, young ones, females, males, and positive interaction with them. They talk to him. He talks to them. There's a couple guys like that. One of them, he does a show on camping skills out in the bush, and he's regularly talking about his interactions with Yowies. If you remember a place on the way down the Gold Coast that was called Bullen's African Lion Safari back in the 80s, it was like a zoo that you could go down and check out all these wild animals. Yeah, apparently at the back of there somewhere, back of Beenleigh when you're going on the way down to the coast, there's a large family of Yowies that have been residing there for a very long time. Apparently they were sneaking onto the Bullen's African Lion Safari and killing a lot of their pets. That actually investigated those creatures. He found out how many were there. He said there was definitely one alpha male, one alpha female. He said it was quite a large tribe. Well, actually, I know for a fact wherever there's high levels in areas of Bigfoot or Yowie sightings, there's also known for it also having high UFO sightings in the same area. The other thing I know for a fact, what I found out, these creatures are being used by the grey aliens, quite a few of the alien races. They're using them and manipulating them to get what they want. They're using them like a slave. They make them do horrible things that they don't want to do. Heard a few stories about that. Yeah, because they go after certain sections of the actual creature. They gut it in a certain way. They go after the certain organs, the eyeballs. They had that phenomena going on the Skinwalker Ranch too. They were trying to. They were standing there when cattle, and all of a sudden one cow would be singled out and stripped to bits. There was a lot of crazy shit going on there. Oh, there's a new research team that's in there now studying new events of what's happening. There was a lot of freaky shit going on there. Yes, a guy did lose 3 of his dogs to orbs. The guy had 3 lights on his property. The dogs chased after it, and a few seconds later there was a bright flash, and then when he found his dogs, they were turned to ash. One particular night, all the security guards, along with the NIDS team, they were researching all the phenomena. Whatever was there was messing with the staff. There's another story I can tell you. There was a guy that turned up on the property. He said he was pulled towards it or something. Walked out into the field. He got past security, puzzled everyone. This whack job. He went out into the field, encountered something out there that scared the shit out of him, and he ran off the premises and never came back. And then there was the other case with a NID staff member. They were observing something up in the trees that looked like a shadow-like type creature that was quite large. It looked like a feline, some kind of feline or something. And when one of the members was tracking it with one of the security guards, the creature ran up to him, pinned him down to the ground, stood over him, growled, said to him, "We know what you're doing. We're watching you." Hey, you got nothing to worry about. That's in Utah in the US. Actually, there is a place like Skinwalker Ranch here in Australia, from what I've heard. One particular family that was living on that farm, they all went nuts. Something there that sent the whole family troppo. Similar type of situation. A lot of weird phenomena going on the property that the poor farmers couldn't work out what was going on. But there is another place in the US, like the Skinwalker Ranch. I think it's called the Stardust Ranch. But the guy's claiming he's got a lot of aliens walking around on his property. He said he's killed quite a few of them with a samurai sword, and he's in the process of selling the property to a research team, if I remember. He's getting off the land, getting out. One of the former employees that was still kind of there. He was just moving in, him and his wife. They didn't know about all the weird phenomena that was going on. He had an accident where part of his, he got partially brain damaged a long time ago. He mentions this, and he reckons that could have been whatever happened to his brain didn't affect him when the aliens popped up. One of the original caretakers on the premises turned up to help the guy out and warned him that there's weird creatures, there's weird creatures wandering around the property. He was trying to help him out. He said who he was. He was carrying a very large machete. There is one in New South Wales at the Blue Mountains. Husband and wife, they have been harassed by a couple of Yowies, a male and a female. Chief of police from New South Wales. She had run-ins. The guy's wife had run-ins with one of these creatures while she was going to the toilet, looking out the window. She sees these glowing yellow glowing eyeballs staring at her while she's going to the toilet. Well, the guys who own the land down there, he's spoken to some of the neighbours. The neighbours have had run-ins with these creatures. His daughter sees the thing on a regular basis. She goes, "Look, Daddy, didn't you know the hairy man's out front?" That's real funny. He said that some of these creatures, they're taking clothes. They're coming up to the side of the house. They're scraping their hands along the side of the wall late at night. Things like that, looking in through the windows. Yowies have got the same ability as the Bigfoot. They've for some reason, they've got some unusual supernatural abilities. There's a lot of paranormal that's associated with the things. They love playing with human beings, and they're letting you know that they're there. The only thing you got to worry about is when they start really showing aggressive tendencies. A lot of people, I've talked to people in the Yowie community, they do not think highly of Dean Harrison. No one really knows their life expectancy, how long they live for. And the funny thing is the Bigfoot do exactly the same thing. Our Yowies are bigger than theirs. They vary in size anywhere from like 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, 9, 10, 11, 12. They go up and down in size. There's a few other different types of Yowies too, which are very short ones. Apparently there's a massive family of Yowies on Palm Island, from what I've heard. I was talking with one of these Aboriginals. That one young Aboriginal fella talks about interacting with those things, but juvenile ones, in his own home, living in a 2-story home on the island. And these juveniles would climb up the side of his house, he would claim they just climb in through his bedroom window, and he'd have a chair in his room. The creature would sit down in the chair in his room and just watch over him. Didn't do anything, would just sit there and watch him. Yeah, late at night. Oh, he would sometimes talk to the creature as well. The funny thing is, everything from what I found out, if they wanted to hurt you, and if they don't like you and had every intention to hurt you, they would hurt you the first time they see you. If they really wanted to do something, they do it straight off the bat. There's a story I heard about a guy that went camping up in Queensland, somewhere up in the north. He was camping and he got approached by a Yowie, and the Yowie spoke to him. Apparently he's claiming, this guy at his campfire, this Yowie had a 3-hour conversation with this Yowie. The creature was talking to him in English. He was talking to him about its concerns about how human beings pollute the environment, how they dump their rubbish, leave toxic waste. He was concerned about a few things. He was asking the human being a lot of questions. And everyone knows about the 2 young fellas that saw the first Yowie there. There's another story I've heard about one of these creatures. Persons at home late at night, they had one of those foldable doors with glass in them or something like that. They had it wide open. This creature walked right into their house, scared the shit out of all the occupants. They're just sitting there having dinner. I don't know if they were having dinner or in the living room. They just walked in and scared the shit out of everyone. Stared at them for a little while. Yeah, they describe them as having quite a few different colors. There's the reddish brown one. I also have heard reports of blonde and white-haired yowies running around different parts of Australia. No, but there is quite a few different types, and there are certain types with different types of eye color. It's also known for a lot of min lights. I was talking to a young couple at a cryptozoology conference a couple of years back. They were out there yowie hunting, and they had an encounter with a min light right outside their tent. A very bright light that comes out of nowhere, often travels through the forest quite slowly. Sometimes it'll sit in a spot, and then after it's been around for a while, it dissipates, just pops up out of nowhere and goes. No idea. A lot of people don't know what it is. Some people reckon that might be a living thing. Some people reckon it's something else. Who knows? It's a very, very bright light, very bright. And they say it's not a good idea to go following those things. You see them, you let them go, you don't follow them, don't engage. Yeah, apparently they say if you follow them, it can lead to death. So I've heard some good ones recently in different parts of New South Wales. There was a lady just recently, quite a few months back. She saw a whole family of yowies being chased after by a rake, and that was somewhere up in Queensland. There's been sightings of those things here in Australia. Humanoid-looking thing, all pale all over. It's not a good thing to go anywhere near. They're very violent. They'll lash out and attack for no reason. Nothing like a dogman. There's been stories of dogmen and rakes fighting each other, also including werewolves. People have actually seen these things also fighting Bigfoot. There's another creature from the Philippines that the Filipinos call a aswang. There was a recent sighting in Melbourne, on the outskirts of Melbourne. There was another case that happened out at Natural Arch quite a few years back. What I've been able to find out, the origins of those things, dogmen originally may have come from Egypt. Werewolf, they come from India. There's two different types of werewolf. One I've heard of, it's basically a person that can become demonically possessed by a certain type of demon that changes the person into a very nasty, ugly looking demonic wolf that can walk on two legs. Records of those things, and they reckon they may have been genetically made by alien races to serve a purpose. Apparently they created these creatures in their own laboratories back in the ancient times when aliens were interacting with humans. Yeah, that was that Israeli guy that was in charge of security for the Israeli space program. They said there will be official disclosure on a lot of things, and they said it's going to come out around 2028 from what I heard. They've been slowly leaking information about various things gradually. The Americans have had a military base on Mars for a very long time. And then I know there's hidden alien bases up on the moon too, so on the backside of the moon. There has been certain presidents that have known a lot more than others and they haven't divulged. There was one particular president, he made arrangements, I think in the 50s or 60s, to meet up with the aliens at an Air Force base. And the whole event was recorded. They were trying to work out some kind of an agreement with the aliens. They reckon the whole moon is a hollow satellite that was towed there by another ancient alien race very, very long time ago. But if you know the stories, they were apparently the first few, there were certain alien races that approached those astronauts and they were told not to come back to the moon. They were threatened by aliens. Yeah, it was around the 60s, and there were a few other cases where they tried going back and they were warned again. A lot of those supposed moon landings were faked. Yeah, where they had supposedly faked the moon landing was somewhere in the desert. I think they tried filming it at night, certain section of the desert. They talked to some of the people that were involved come out and have been speaking up about it. Yeah, I've heard that one. I heard a story that they supposedly detonated a nuke up there for a reason. A real low-level nuke, and apparently it was to take out some alien base that was no good. They can't lie anymore because the sightings of all these various things are increasing at an incredible rate, and there's nothing they can do to cover it up or get people to keep their mouth shut. They said they're going to gradually do it, and apparently there will be an official reveal in 2028. The world was supposed to have ended in 1999. That never happened. You can't go by what Nostradamus said. The guy was a whack job, probably doing drugs at the time. I really reckon certain things that human beings do now can change events of what happens in the future because of the choices they make now. And I reckon a lot of people have been making choices that are causing a different effect that other people don't like. Global warming's nonsense. Yeah, that's what they're saying. They can't keep lying forever. They're gradually leaking information about the Bigfoot, the dogman, and werewolf. One guy who works for the CIA has been given permission by his bosses higher up to slowly release small amounts of information about these creatures just to warn the public about what's out there and how to look after themselves. Yeah, they're conditioning us. A lot of people who are ex-military, Air Force, Army, Navy, that have been involved very high up with everything from retrieval of crash flying saucers and all kinds of other things. that are going on that they've been withholding from the public. They're speaking their minds now after they've retired, and they're letting the people know what's really going on. It goes back even further than Roswell from what you hear in the reports. There is an actual hell. I've heard testimonies from people that have been down there. That's a place you don't want to go to. I sure as hell don't want to go there. No, I've heard testimonies from people who have been there. It's not a good place to be. And apparently they're portals that lead to other dimensions, different universes, different places. Oh, ley lines are very real. I know about it. And I know what each particular tree means when they do that. I've done some further digging. Well, the X's, if you want to know the true meaning to that, it's a warning. It's not for humans. It's a warning for other Sasquatch and other Yowies. It's how they communicate with each other. It's sort of a partial warning, but the worst warning you don't want to come across is very large trees that are being pulled up by their root and jammed back in the opposite way with the roots facing the sky. You come across that means get the fuck out of here. You're not supposed to be here. It's a last warning sign that you hang around, we'll kill you. It's basically it's the biggest warning sign you can get. It's saying do not walk in, do not approach, get lost. It's like boundaries. It's like the last boundary to push with them. Yeah, there's been some recent dog sightings here in Australia, and there's been some werewolf sightings too. Those things, they can survive all different kinds of climates, all over the place. They travel around all over the country. I heard one from a guy in Western Australia. That was quite interesting too. A guy that worked for the mines. He had an encounter with his ute when he was driving back from somewhere. He had an encounter with a dogman. Scared the shit out of him. Try talking to a lot of truck drivers. They'll have some stories to tell you. They see all kinds of things. They'll see UFOs. They'll also see